Hi, I'm Lori F. Dean, and congratulations, you are here. The final video in our Dishrag to Dynamo series. One that has taken you from a place of being a dish rag, dirty, holy, smelly, used up, feeling like you were no good except to clean up everybody else's life problems and messes, from that place to one where you are a dynamo. You are the powerful, purposeful, bold, brilliant, and bountiful being that you always knew you could be. Remember our journey? Back in the very first video when we got going, we talked about this place of Dishrag, which felt like a prison. It was a place of pain, a place of fear, a place of feeling broken, a place of limitations, a place of feeling closed in, constricted, separated, you and everyone else. It had all kinds of associations that kept you stuck. Made you feel like you couldn't go forward, made you feel like there was nowhere else to go. But then there was that other part of you buried deep, deep down inside that knew there was more to your life than just being a dish rag in a prison. So you started to look out through the prison bars, and you looked up on the mountain peak towards this paradise, this place of being a dynamo, the dynamo that you always knew you were, and always knew that you are deep down inside. And here we looked at all of the feelings associated with being a dynamo. The lightness, the pleasure, the feeling of being connected to something bigger than who you thought you were. The sense of being whole and grounded and in control and powerful. And it got you feeling lighter, and it got you feeling excited, and you wanted to take this transformative journey, so you said, all right, let's go, I'm ready, I'm going to play all out. So we started on your path. We started looking at how you could get from your prison to your paradise, and we realized we couldn't just make a leap across, and there was no bridge or road or even a rope to swing over to that spot. We knew that you had to actually get down into the pit, which could be dark and scary, make your way through and up the other side. We also knew that you needed a path to help you through the pit, so that you wouldn't stumble, so that you wouldn't stay stuck, or you wouldn't retreat back to the prison because you felt overwhelmed and totally afraid and all alone. So one of the things we talked about was the first step of that path, which was connection. Connection to who you truly are. Connection to the spirit, the creator, the creation that brought you here. And how you are a spark of that creation, which means that you too are a creator. And you can create in two different ways. You can create unconsciously, or you can create consciously. But you are creating all the time. And we had a look at our soul purpose pyramid, and we talked about the planes, the physical, mental, and spiritual planes of that pyramid. And when you are operating on the physical plane, you are basically creating from a place that is kind of destructive. A place that keeps you stuck, a place that keeps you feeling separate and worthless and unlovable and unacceptable and used. A place that keeps you saying, if this is all that there is in this world, I can't wait for it to be over. Then we looked at how the mental plane affects the physical plane in terms of the beliefs, the judgments, the thoughts, the projections that we have had for most of our life. And we looked at ways that we could start to change that, to question those beliefs, to look at the judgments we had about others, about situations, and about ourselves. To consider for a moment that what we were projecting out to the world was a reflection of what was going on inside of us. So if we were creating from an unconscious place, a place of pain and limitation, what we projected, it became our belief, and what we projected in the form of a thought and action came back to us in a reflection, which basically validated our belief in the first place. So we said, see, I told you the world's a crappy place. We also talked about how to get rid of those limiting beliefs and all that limiting stuff that's going on in the mind and replace it with something broader. something more expansive. And the way to do that was to get connected to spirit. Get back to being connected to the source of all living things, and that includes you. And because you are connected to that, not only are you part of the whole, is everything one, but that creator, that creation that is you, is also a creator, an active participant in creating your own life. And we talked about being driven by the Spirit to activate something called soul purpose, which is a contract, a map, a blueprint that you were born with, what you came into this world to accomplish. So then we looked at, as I flip my paper here, some exercises to get you thinking and reconnected to spirit. And I won't run through these right now because we'll talk about them when we get to your toolbox, and you've also got them written down. But we did go on to step number 2, which is clarifying who you were not, your shadow side, as well as who you were, or who you are on your sacred side. And then I, basically threw it out to you that you're actually both. That your shadow side, things that you call negative, is actually a gift, and actually came with you when you were born as part of your soul purpose to bring you to this perfect place in your life where you could recognize that you don't want to be those anymore and what you do want to be, because we live in a world of duality, a world of opposites, of light and dark, of right and left. And you can't see the light without first experiencing the shadow. And we also talked about the fact that the shadow is still part of who you are, and you can't eliminate everything that has happened to you, and that there will never be times that it won't try to creep back in and take over. Whether you call it ego or shadow, it will try to regain control of your life. So the idea for all of the tools that you're gathering, the core where you want to get to, is to walk the middle line, where your sacred self and your shadow self meet in the middle. That is the place of power. It is a place of non-blame, non-shame, non-judgment, non-opinion. It just is. And you recognize you have both of those elements in you. And you recognize that you have experienced living through the shadow, and you are now experiencing living through the sacred. But you're bringing the shadow along because it cannot escape you. So we talked about that. It's a little overwhelming. Took me a long time to really get my head around that. But I do invite you not to let that go and dig deeper if you need to really understand that concept.